Well, good morning, everyone. This is a 2006 Chevy HHR 2.4 LT. We are talking about acceleration issues. Um, on this vehicle, on this particular vehicle here, Chevy HHRs have what's called acceleration issues, which means these engines do have somewhat what's called poor performance, and it seems to happen to a lot of them. Um, I didn't start having a problem until about a couple months ago. I was having poor acceleration. The only thing is that the acceleration would only happen when you're at a stoplight or at a stop sign or come to complete stop anywhere else. Once you push that gas pedal, the car would barely go like 20 miles an hour. But then once she catches up to her speed, she'll be revving her engine really hard when she's going down the road, because it's like when you're going like trying to go like 40 right after you accelerate, your vehicle's only doing less than 20, but once it picks up, it does some high RPMs because the engine is trying to keep up with the speed that you have, but it couldn't due to a acceleration issue. So I did scenarios where I had my spark plugs and everything were changed about not even a year ago, coil packs. I had I had fuel treatment put in. I've had good gas at different gas stations. I mean, I've had this replaced. I've had my charcoal canister replaced. Everything has been replaced on this thing besides the fuel injectors and the throttle body. This car now has a little over 227,000 miles. I haven't had any coats for this thing, and it doesn't always mean coats are going to pop up, because in my experience in the past with throttle bodies from GM vehicles, they can go out at the last minute when you're going down the road without any signs of a light until the day it actually goes completely bad. It's usually when the light comes on for them. Well, I kind of thought that maybe the throttle body was just dirty, but I clean out every few months, and it's clean as hell. It looks like it's brand new inside on the front and on the bottom of it. But I actually take it off to clean these. Um, so I checked the connectors and everything, make sure everything was good, make sure all this was tight, make sure there was no holes in this, because these are a big problem. These things break in here, which means it's cost of replacing this whole hose. This hose was good. So I know these throttle bodies for the first generation, these things are like $70 to $91 brand new on Amazon and eBay. I'm thinking about getting one. So I tried to do an easy solution. I tried using what's called B12 carburetor and choke throttle body cleaner. This stuff does work wonders. I used to be able to buy a regular throttle body cleaner like in a white and red can, but I can't seem to find those anymore, so I'm assuming they probably changed them to these. These are like 12 bucks a can. So the other day I sprayed it into the throttle body, and since I did that, the car hasn't had any acceleration issues. Even when you come to a complete stop and you push the gas, and it's been running fine for a week. Because normally it's like every day when I hit the gas, the car will go whoa, like it doesn't want to go anywhere. But then about 5 seconds later, she catches up. Then she was fine. So I sprayed it in again this morning just to clean it out more. And I'm assuming there's probably too much carb buildup in the engine somewhere. I thought that maybe it could have been up in here, because when I replaced my gaskets and replaced all the crankshaft sensors and stuff, I've cleaned this out, had all new seals put on and everything, and it didn't help. So when I put that stuff in, it's been almost 2 weeks now, and I haven't had any problems with it hesitating or having acceleration issues. This is even at cold or hot, even at a cold start or when the engine's hot and you're going down the road. Usually I'd have to drive at least not even a mile for the acceleration to do what it does, but it just randomly does it. Means I can go drive and I can come to stop 3 or 4 times and it won't do it at all. Then it'll start doing it again on my way back home, where you can go on a 30-minute drive to where you're going and it will act fine. But then when you're driving 30 minutes back home, that's when it wants to act up. It's just one of those things that randomly happens. So try cleaning out your throttle body first and try to get all the carbon buildup out of these things, because these Ecotec motors have a big issue about getting carbon buildup in the intake manifold or in the engine somehow. If you've already changed your air filter and you put in your hoses and everything are tight and connected properly, and you're not having any issues with the throttle body or your throttle position sensor of any sort, um, if you know that your spark plugs and your ignition coils are good, then and if you checked your charcoal canister, your fuel pressure regulator, if all that's good, you shouldn't be having any issues. Now, I did notice that the fuel caps do cause a little bit of problems, but they don't cause performance issues. They can cause vapor to be escaping. So when I checked my computer scanner on my phone, it said that my evaporator system did not pass, and it's saying the oxygen sensor not passed, and the heat it's the heat sensor part didn't pass. It's basically in the catalyst in the cat's system did not pass, but I'm not having any issues with any of that. So I don't know what the cause could be, but I'm pointing down to this throttle body because it's something to do with fuel and air. Most GM vehicles, especially modern ones, even with Saturn views, Chevy Cobalt, HHRs, they have issues with throttle bodies when you get to so many miles. I've never had a GM throttle body that lasts up to 240,000 miles. If you do, you're lucky. So I'm pointing down to this thing because this thing has to have the right amount of air going through the engine for everything to function properly. And if your fuel injectors haven't been changed, I mean, they would recommend to change the throttle body first to see if that solves the problem. Because yes, you can get aftermarket fuel injectors and they cost about half the price as a throttle body. If you go to the auto parts store, you spend $300 on a throttle body, and get them online for about $91. Fuel injectors online can cost between $45, $65 for all four, or around $80 to $130 a piece for a fuel injector. So I would start with a throttle body first and be sure that it doesn't have. Make sure that your throttle position sensor inside here in your idle air control valve is all working right, because if the throttle body's not working right, not getting enough air, then it could throw off for poor acceleration, because that is a big play especially in the Ecotec engines, and you don't want those things to mess up. But try to clean it out first and make sure you just don't have a lot of carbon buildup, because your throttle body can actually be completely clean, but it doesn't mean your intake manifold may not be clean. I mean, it could be something in your engine that's getting clogged. Could be something to do with fuel. Could be both. Some people say sea foam is probably the best thing to try, but you can also try that and see if that cleans out the system better. Do it a couple times, and if that solves your acceleration issue instead of the carburetor cleaner or throttle body cleaner, then there you go. But so far, this stuff here has actually solved my problem. I mean, this doesn't mean it's a permanent fix. It could be just a temporary fix, or it could be a permanent. It just depends on what it is. I hope this video helps on the Chevy HHR with the acceleration issue. Please note, this is for demonstration purposes only. This doesn't mean it's going to solve your issues. Feel free to comment if you have any questions, and y'all have a great one.